We just started recording on the Education Committee Representative Town meeting. It's a special meeting. We started at 6:36, which is 2 minutes ago. We conducted our roll call where 4 members are present, 5 are absent at this time. We had no unfinished business, and now we're on to the first and only new business item, 2021-437-3, Children First Groton Collaborative Grant 2021. And I've asked Superintendent Austin to introduce the grant for us. Thank you.
So I'm going to start just with a little orientation about the partnership that Groton Public Schools has really treasured with Children First Groton and the school Readiness. We've been receiving a grant that is a pretty substantial grant every year. It comes, we sign off and we have Learn as a partner. So hence Linda Allen, who's our partner from Learn in early childhood. And she works with this team at Children First Groton and School Readiness, along with Nadine Macklin, who's one of our supervisors for special education. And she really is a leader in early childhood in the school district. So you can see how these, outside agencies that serve our children, along with our own work at Groton Public Schools, and then to have a Learn partner is really a critical partnership in all of this. We use these funds to support, Groton Public Schools serves as the fiduciary in all of these grants. So we actually use our own personnel, kind of in-kind services, to manage these grants and to help support them. Linda is a catalyst for writing the grants and also overseeing the grants and making sure the money is spent well. And she can tell you some more specificity around that. When I first got to Groton, Children First Groton was one of the first community groups that I kind of really adopted and started participating with. And I don't know if you remember early on, we were doing the mental health summits. We did them all the way till COVID kind of shut us down. And so we did a lot of work around social emotional learning and really having early childhood specialists come and talk to families and bringing in a lot of partnerships around the Southeastern Connecticut who service our children, for a common cause. So with the big grant, we've kind of gotten to know each other. We work on that all year long. And Linda, how many seats are we able to serve beyond what we serve in the school districts through that early childhood grant, the original grant?
The School Readiness Grant funds a total of 53 slots for children in the community for preschool.
And that's full day?
Yes. Well, Riverfront has 21 full day, full year slots, and then they do 5 school day, school year slots. And we call it ECDC, but it's the Groton Mystic Early Childhood Development Center in Groton. That's part of Child and Family Agency. They have 32 full day, full year slots.
So beyond what we can service with our 9 preschool teachers, having double sessions, so maybe servicing up to 30 students a piece. So we service about 300 preschool and pre-K students within Groton, and then we're able to have 50 or more others serviced beyond that. But this group has been really go-getters around and really forward thinking about making sure that we have partnerships within our community and giving parents a voice. And this is what I treasure about this grant. And I'm going to give Linda the floor in a minute to speak about it. But they've had multiple of these, smaller grants, but they, in the neighborhood of $35,000, which have really partnered us with our different neighborhoods and had coordinators within that neighborhood who get state training around early childhood and come back and then can share that information with this group and also in their own neighborhoods. So with that, I'm going to let you take over, Linda, because you're really the expert in knowing this particular grant. And I think this is the second year of it. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. So we got the grant last year.
Excuse me, I'd just like to interject at 6:41, Representative Frickman joins. We do have quorum.
Oh, thank you.
So last year we had, so as Susan was saying, this group is the Children First Groton School Readiness Council really is a dynamic group of people who really are very motivated and dedicated to doing what they can for children and families in the community. And last year there was an opportunity to write, the maximum we could write for was 30,000. We we were awarded 20,600. So we did have to make some adjustments, but some of the things that they did with the first round was they wanted to be more visible in the in the community. So Councilman Melendez was instrumental in helping the group get an office in the library. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't really able to open until just about a month ago. But they wanted to do that and just become more visible and become just to strengthen what they were doing in the community already. This grant came out again, so this is a continuation. The maximum we were able to apply for was 35,000, which we were given. And the focus this time around really is about parent voice. So the Office of Early Childhood is creating a on a state level, a parent cabinet. One of the members of Children First Groton School Readiness Council has applied for that position. We haven't heard whether or not she's been accepted. But so they have ambassadors. This group has also had neighborhood leaders. So there are 5, they've sort of identified 5 neighborhoods within Groton. There is money in this grant to help fund some of their, we have to do surveys, focus groups. They're doing popsicle pop-ups. So they're trying to do some socials and just work with families. They want to find out what families need and how they can support them. You know, some of the things that they did earlier during COVID, because we have Children First Groton, they've partnered. There's another fiscal sponsor, which is the Child and Family Agency, and they any grant that the Children First Groton gets, Child and Family Agency is the fiduciary for that because they work under their 503C. Is that the number for a nonprofit?
501c3.
Thank you. So during COVID, they did a lot of applied for a lot of grants and ended up getting about $20,000 for food distribution to help address food insecurity. So they really are a group that go out and try to see what the needs are and try to figure out how to support that and to support the community. And that was a big collaborative effort with the senior center, with the police departments. They found families who couldn't get to distribution sites for food. So they had volunteers and the police officers who were delivering food to people who couldn't get there. Some of the other things for this particular, circling back around to the grant that's out now, is they are looking, they've just hired or are in the process of hiring an outreach coordinator who would be going to the diversity, equity, and inclusion events and committees and being a part of that effort. And also just attending more efforts, again, to get people more aware of some of the things that the group does. Again, the parent ambassadors will attend some regional and state meetings along with bringing information back into the community. There will be focus groups. There'll be data collection, and you know, the support and the collaboration and partnership that we have with the Groton Public Schools is just phenomenal. We are all very grateful and so thrilled with the support that we have, because they make a lot of this very easy, because we can call up and say, we need your help. And it's always like, what can we do? We'll be happy to do that. So thank you to Susan and to the Groton Public Schools for all of that support. It is much appreciated.
Thank you.
And thank you both for that great description and introduction to the topic. Now that we do have a quorum, I'm going to introduce a motion for a recommendation of this. So sit back. This is a long one. I'm going to read it verbatim. So here we go. We recommend the resolution authorizing the superintendent of schools to execute the contract between the Connecticut Council for Philanthropy and Groton Public Schools to receive grant funding in the amount of $35,000. Whereas Children First Groton and School Readiness Council were recently awarded grant funding in the amount of $35,000 from the Connecticut Early Childhood Funder Collaborative, and whereas the grant will assist in focusing on the expansion of the Children First Groton and School Readiness Council Collaborative Leadership Group to be more diverse and broaden the representation reflective of the community. And whereas by successfully partnering with underrepresented groups such as parents, military families, and faith-based members, along with increasing the number of residents participating, Children First Groton and School Readiness Council will strengthen the effectiveness, depth, and scope of the work, resulting in a collaborative that represents the diverse population of Groton. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council authorizes the superintendent of schools, Susan Austin, to execute the contract agreement between the Connecticut Council for Philanthropy as the fiscal sponsor for the Connecticut Early Childhood Funder Collaborative and the Groton Public Schools as the fiscal sponsor for the Children First Groton School Readiness Council Collaborative, and to receive the grant funding in the amount of $35,000. Do I have a second?
Fitzgerald.
Okay, thank you. I got that as Fitzgerald, Representative Fitzgerald is second. Any discussion? I'll open it up for questions from the committee members. And you can just speak out. Raise your hand.
I have a question, Mike, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
Rep Chase. So I'm kind of confused on the dates because I saw a date of, so I'm not sure what these documents are that they gave us, because it shows that this is for FY 21 that we're in, and there are 2 reporting deadlines that may have been missed. So, and then I saw a budget that's for FY 22, so I'm a little confused on the dates of this grant. It says the year started in September of 2020. Is that not the case?
This is a continuation of the original grant.
Oh, so this is an extension of the grant.
Yes, like it's like
Okay.
part 1 and part 2. The first part was
Okay.
the 20,000 in 2020. And this is the second part of it, is from what my understanding is.
Okay,
Right.
So no reporting deadlines were missed.
No,
Okay.
And the document we're looking at here, it has the contract period listed as September 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. So it'd still be in
Right.
that. And then it has some reporting requirements. There are 3 due dates. One of them, these are reporting periods. One of them is June 21st of this year. The next one is July 15th. And then after that, it's the October 15th. So 2 out of the 3 of them have passed. I'm guessing it by continuation that those reporting obligations have been met.
yes, they have. They were 2 interim reports. And the next one, as you said, is in October, and then there will be a final report that needs to be submitted on December 15th.
And that's the end of this grant that we're talking about. The end period for this grant is on December 31st of this year.
Yes, all the money needs to be spent. But the members who are assuming some of these roles are, know that their work may continue after that and would like to have it continue. But yes, the funding is done as of December 31st.
So that's the first part, and this second part, the 35,000 that's in question today.
The 20,600 was from was from 2020. We were actually supposed to start that just as COVID hit. And then this came out for September of 2021. Right? No, we're not in September of 20. I'm sorry. September of 2020 and go until December.
Right.
Of
So
this
you have
year.
to spend the 35,000
Yes, by December. Yes.
So that gives you September, October, November, 4 months to spend 35,000.
Yes.
Okay, so then the budget that we have, find it here, has a date of, let me see, where is it? 21-22 projected budget. So does that go into the FY22 school year, which starts in, let's see, I'm trying to figure your years. My years at work are the federal year. So your year starts July 1st.
I think what you're looking at, Kathy, is the document for all the funds that come into Children First Groton. So this is their FY22 projected budget that
Okay.
includes all the different contributions from the city, from the town. Like I said, they do go after a lot of different fund sources to be able to support their work throughout the year. So these additional grants are just a part of all of that work.
So, and do these grant monies pay for salaries?
They pay stipends
Okay.
and
So then-
also for like materials and supplies and any expenses. So like the meetings, the ambassadors, if they have to travel to Hartford, they'll be compensated for childcare and mileage and those kinds of related expenses. So there are stipends also for the neighborhood leaders. There are some stipends for them and also money put aside so that they can buy materials or food if they're going to have like the popsicle pop-up. They'll use those funds for that.
And
Okay,
I think
so-
that your group also used some of the funding for technology, especially when you went into COVID and hotspots, and to be able to continue your work.
Right.
And I'll add that in the material we got sent for the meeting, it's actually the same material that was at the earlier town council committee, the whole meeting. There is, after it has the budget for Children First Groton, that 2022 budget for the organization, there is an attachment A budget, and that is just for this grant. It's itemized and it's up totaling $35,000. And on my version of the file, it says it's on page 27, but I'm looking at it.
Yes.
I'm looking at the one. So if anyone can't find that, let me know, because it goes through. It first has personnel, and there are personal costs like administrative assistant, program manager, outreach coordinator, CFG chair, and then the next section is travel, equipment, supplies. And then after that, there's parent stipends for the parent ambassadors mentioned, neighborhood parent leaders, learn school readiness liaison. And then after that, there's a last section where it's basically neighborhood group supplies, focus group, and night meeting expenses, data consultant. And then that all totals up to the 35,000.
So there is an administrative assistant in here. So that's my concern with a grant, because is this going to be sustainable if you don't get the grant again? Is this person going to be out of a job, or are they already employed by the town and they're just shift their job around if the grant is not received again?
I can answer that one. I can answer that specific person. Assistant is works for Children First Groton.
Okay.
So that's my broader question. I think these monies are essentially, I would think of them as pass-throughs. There's no money going to Groton Public Schools from this grant.
Nothing.
Oh,
No.
Right. Okay. Right.
No. Ours are more in-kind services.
Right.
And we
Okay.
partnered on this Prescription to Read, which is a wonderful program where we leave books in doctors' offices and all around town. And we actually have them in our school-based health centers for our preschoolers and parents and families. So through some ARP ESSER funds, I was able to help support some funding with those books. So a lot of our work is just partnering where we can see that we can partner, and, you know, also acting as a fiduciary. I think collegially, we work together very well and we're part of the team. So, you know, our ideas kind of come together, but I think the focus has always been in this partnership around our families and really hearing parent voice. And whether it was the mental health summits or some of those wonderful community outreach projects that you had before, even the summer passport that you did many
Oh, yep.
summers ago for
Groton
kids to go
Go.
around town, and we worked with the, you know, police department and fire department. And so, and I think one of the things that Linda and I were talking about with sustainability is that some of these folks in the neighborhood know that this is kind of a year project. And then should we be able to receive more funding, we'll be able to continue this on, but it might be another neighbor gets to have a chance to have that coordination. So it's good to have new blood and new energy and to have, you know, lots of different people participating as much as we can.
So I have a question. This is a discrete effort. If it doesn't get funded or loses funded in the future, Board of Ed's not going to pick it up to incorporate it into their budget or their programs?
No.
Okay. And there's currently no Board of Ed staff that are dedicated to this and getting
No,
paid through
but
Board of Ed monies?
it does go through our business office, but they do, you know, we have a designated staff person who helps with grants specifically. So all of our grants, you know, that we receive, whether they're the competitive grants or they're grants that we actualize yearly, like Title I's and that kind of thing. So.
Okay.
And one of the things too about the sustainability, the Children First Groton was actually an effort that was funded by the Graustein Foundation many years ago before I started in this role. And Children First Groton is one of about 7 that still are in existence around the state. So they, the group really prides themselves in trying to stay very sustainable by going after a lot of grants and working within the budget that they are able to achieve by applying for lots of grants.
A lot of the Children First Groton or the Children First organizations ended when the Graustein funding ended, but they are very proud that they've continued and continue to serve our community. So it's, you know, something that I'm proud to partner with.
And I'll note that some of the Children First Groton funding actually comes from both the town of Groton and also the city of Groton. And we consider that every year. My question about this grant is I couldn't figure out if there was any formal match required when applying for this grant. I know they're in-kind services, but sometimes you have to actually itemize them and get to a certain funding amount. It seemed like to me there wasn't that mechanism, but just sometimes that constrains, say, in this case, the Groton Public Schools to do certain things. But I was wondering if that was a case where there was formal match that was required in this case.
There is no formal
there's
match
no
required.
match.
Thank you. I was wondering if anyone else had any questions, either committee members or others in attendance.
Mike, may I ask another question?
Yes, of course.
I apologize, Linda, if you've already said this, but if you could give the Reader's Digest version of exactly what Children's First Groton is. I know it's a collaborative, but what exactly is their goal?
So Children First Groton was created through the Graustein Foundation many years ago, and they had different buckets that they worked with. So there was an education bucket, physical and mental health bucket. There was safety and strong buckets, and they've kept those going. So there are different committees within Children First Groton. And then school readiness, they partnered together, I believe it was about 20 years ago. And the School Readiness Council is something that is part of the school readiness legislation. So these two groups came together to form one large group. So when they refer to the leadership table, there's also reference to the School Readiness Council. So as Susan said earlier, Nadine is a part of the council and the group. We needed a superintendent's designee. Juan Melendez, the council member for the town of Groton, is the mayor's designee. So he is also the co-chair of the group. So I wasn't a part of the Graustein, so I can't give you a whole lot of history on that specifically, but it was to just come in and really strengthen and support young children and families in different communities. So from that group, Prescription to Read, Groton Go, then they expanded it to Groton Rocks, but I don't know that I think that sort of went by the wayside because of COVID. But I know the Groton Go, they do things around, they find money and they buy car seats for the police department to be able to give out to families that need them. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question though. Am I?
Well, it's hard for me to know because I'm not really sure what Children First Groton is, but you gave me some good information. So thank you.
If you ever have any other questions or would like more information, just please reach out and I can certainly, if I can't give it to you, I can certainly give you to somebody, direct you to somebody who'd be able to give you a lot more history about their mission. And actually, the original grant has a lot of historical information, so I could even send that narrative to you if you'd like.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
The reason I feel that they're such a good partner is this is the organization that watches after family from birth to 3 and all the way to 8 years old. So, thinking about all of our early childhood centers, our preschools, our pre-Ks that may filter into Groton Public Schools. Those are all of our families. And I think the more that we can give them a good early start and give parents a voice so they can ask questions and we can provide resources for them, I think the better the partnership is. And the more ready kids will be for school, you know? So I do see it as both a readiness and also a support system for our young families.
Does anyone else have any questions or discussion points? All right, if not, we are ready for our vote. And I'll just go through by roll call of the members present. So we're voting on the recommendation for Children First Groton Collaborative Grant 2021. And if you're in support, say yes. If not, say no. Oh, hold on. I gotta call your name. So Representative Chase?
Yes.
Representative Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Representative Frickman?
Yes.
And Representative Gauthier?
Yes.
And Representative Whitney? Yes. That's all the members present. So that passes unanimously, 5-0. And I'd just like to thank you all for discussing this and asking good questions and providing a lot of information. For me, I could tell this was a good grant to get behind, but I wasn't exactly sure what it did. Now I have a much better understanding of that.
Well, I think I want to go out to the popsicle event so I can meet some of these families and have a popsicle. I think it's a good place for me to meet some families and see how they're doing.
And popsicles are a good draw.
And popsicles are a good draw, especially with the heat wave coming.
Right.
All right. Thank you all so much for your work.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
for your support.
Motion to adjourn, or if anyone has any other points, you can bring it up now.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, a second for that? I don't know if we got a second.
Second.
Okay, Representative Freckman second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
Have a nice
Linda.
evening.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.